guys, welcome to the channel. Thanks for checking out the video. Just getting ready to pull the 420 horse Mopar 360 out of my 68 Dart. So if you're new to the channel and you're wondering what we're working with here, I got a good video showing you the Dart. It's a nice walk around video. Also have a video showing you the 420 horse out of a Mopar 360 stock bottom end, cheap, easy build. Now in the next couple weeks, we're going to be going back on the dyno. We're going to be putting those trick flow CNC ported heads I showed you in the last video, and I got a solid roller camshaft on the way. And if you go back and you watch that CNC ported video, you might see something in the background that we're planning on putting on this motor, see if we can make some real horsepower. This video here is going to be about pulling the motor. As we pull it, I'm going to stop along the way and show you guys a couple little things I've done to maybe help you out, show you some tricks and stuff, and get you some better ETs and some better street ability. So the hood's off, we're ready to go. Let's get into it. Okay, so one of the first things I'm going to do is pull the carburetor off. I already got the battery disconnected, of course. And I can pull that off and I can install this genuine Simpson Speed Part engine lift plate. I've done a couple trick things on the inside of this carburetor, including like pump cams, squirters. I got the hollow pins in there, got jet extensions at the back. If you guys are interested in a video on that, go ahead, hit me up in the comments. Let me know and I can make one going through that whole thing. Now if you're looking at this throttle kickdown cable here, that's BPE. Now you 727 trans guys should be running that cable. It's not only a kickdown, it actually regulates the pressure inside your transmission. And if you have like a regular automatic 727 and you're not running that cable, you can burn it out. These guys make a great kit. It even has a return spring on the transmission, which is nice, so it doesn't hold your throttle up at all. And you can actually adjust the shift points too using that adjustment on the cable. So I highly recommend that. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that guy pulled and then just start removing wires, stuff for the alternator, and then work my way to the front, get the rad and all the belts and everything off the front of there. Always have a magnet. So got the engine plate on there, pulled the wires back, got the alternators connected, started draining the coolant system. One thing I thought I'd show you guys, if you run MSD wires, you get these great little clips that number all your cylinders for you. So if you're pulling plugs or something at the track, you can put them all back on and never mix up that dreaded 5.7 small block Mopar misfire issue that everybody seems to do once. Okay, making some good progress on the front of the motor here. Alternator's gone, the fan's off obviously, and the pulley as well. Gonna start working on getting that power steering pump out of there. Just thought I'd point this little tip out to you guys. It's always a good idea to get your camera phone out, take a couple pictures of the way everything aligns. You can see I got a couple washers in there, and I've done that just to make sure that that belt is properly aligned with the pulleys. If it's not aligned properly, you'll shred that belt pretty quick. And the good thing about working on all these old cars, if you just put them back together the way you took them apart, they'll be fine. So it's always a good idea to get your camera phone out, take a couple pictures. So I'm gonna get that guy out of there, and then I can start working on getting that rad out of there. Okay, I got the radiator out of there now. In hindsight, I might not have needed to pull the radiator, but I do know the motor's going to want to go ahead like 2 inches or so, which gets pretty close to the radiator, and it's pretty nice. I didn't want to run into it with that water pump snout. I got the power steering pump off as well. I just kind of left it hooked up to the hoses still, but left it on the K-member. If you disconnect the hoses, you'll have to bleed the system, so I wanted to avoid that, make it simple, just layer there. I'll point this out to you guys too. I got a trans cooler on the rad. I'm sure most guys with the 727 do as well. And these are my transcooler lines. I actually moved them from the other side of the block because they used to run along the side of the header, like the stock lines, the hard bent lines. So last year when I had the trans out and redid it, I switched them over to AN lines, ran them along with the fuel line, clean the whole thing up and get them away from all the heat, make sure that thing stays nice and cool. So with all that done now, I can actually go to the back and I can start looking at getting those dreaded trans to block bolts out of there. They're a total pain, but gotta do her. Let's get into it. Hey guys, thanks for staying tuned. Still working away on the Dart here. I ended up taking a couple days off over Christmas there, see some family. But I did get some speed parts show up while I was off on holiday, so that's great. The new cam and lifters have shown up, so it's solid roller. Specs on that cam are 248, 254 at 50 with 576 intake lift and 582 exhaust. Also did a little work on the tunnel ram there, got it plumbed, ready to go. So that thing will be on the dyno. And still plugging away on the Dart here. Got those top bell housing bolts off, got the headers off, disconnected MSD, and she's jacked up, so we're gonna crawl underneath her and keep going on it. Hey guys, underneath the car here now. Thought I'd show you a couple things. Here is my wideband O2 sensor. I put that guy myself and used it to tune up my Holly. By the way, I did go ahead and make that Holly video I was talking about earlier, so you should check that out if you're interested in seeing some tricks to upgrade your Holly. But this is the #1 thing to do here is a wideband O2 sensor. If you don't have access to a dyno, this is the best way you can tune your carburetor. Looking at the trans there, you can see the blue AN trans cooler lines that go to the braided lines that I moved to the other side of the engine, get them away from the headers. And you can also see the return spring I was talking about earlier and the rest of that BPE transmission cable that does your spring, that does your pressure and your downshift selection. So a couple of trans upgrades and that O2 sensor. Now all I got to do is come over here, start undoing the cover, and then I'll have access to the stall converter. And I can push that back onto the pump after I get it unbolted. I'll show you guys that in a second here when I get it open. That and the starter, and then just about done other than motor mounts really. So we'll get going on that now. Okay, so here is that converter now exposed. I got the starter off too. I just got it hanging up on the header there. I don't know if you can see it or not. But here's that converter. It's a 10-inch converter, 3500 stall. And you can see I've marked the hole location for the bolt with a paint pen. This does have a dual pattern on it. So if you do have a dual pattern, always a good idea to mark out which one you have, because if you start on one pattern, you'll get halfway around and realize you'll have to go back, undo it, and start over. So always a good idea. Once I get these all unbolted, I'll physically push this converter back against the pump. The pump's inside the trans there. So you push it back so it doesn't disengage. If it disengages, it can be a little tricky to get pushed back onto that pump. So you just push it back, and sometimes you can take a stick and clamp a stick across there to make sure it doesn't pop out when you're moving or jacking the car up and down. Okay guys, that's gonna be it for me today. I got the trans completely disconnected from the engine. I did push that stall converter back into the pump area. I got that one oil gauge line disconnected, and I've undone 2 of the 3 bolts on the motor mounts on each side. I'm gonna leave 1 bolt in on each one until I get it hooked up and we're ready to actually yank it. Still gonna be a couple days. I'll have to wait for a couple buddies to come by just to help me make sure we don't bang the headers up pulling it out. And I gotta wait for my engine builder to be ready for the thing too. So a couple more days and then we'll get it yanked out in the back of the truck and off she goes. Stay tuned. Hey guys, thanks for staying tuned. We're all ready to start pulling the motor out now. It's a couple days later. It's actually New Year's Day, so Happy New Year to you. I'm just waiting on my buddy to get over here. I got 1 bolt left in it, and then once he's here, I got a little pressure on it. Pull that 1 bolt, out she comes. Original plan, we were gonna put it in the back of my truck and it was gonna go up to the engine builder as a complete engine. But plans change. I got about an extra week of time before he's ready to take it. So I picked up a stand. I'll show you guys the stand real quick. It's just a cheapy guy. And we're gonna put it on the stand, and then I'm gonna take the heads off here and send it up to him as like a short block assembly, where we're gonna put the new heads, cam, and dyno tune the engine, shoot for some high horsepower. But she's all ready to go, so once my buddy gets here, good to go. And yeah, we'll edit it all and shit too. Okay, get her on there. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, rip her out. Yeah. Roll. Okay, Nat, you want to make sure you want to go grab that header? Take that shit. Okay, just pull that header away. Joe, you can work the pump. Hold this one. It's the car guy. Okay, yeah, go up. Yeah, take one up. It's already loose, so yeah, right up. Hold it there. Three lengths. Can we pull it forward, slide it back? Oh yeah, it's fine. Wait, we're good. We're good. Okay, up on the pump. Is everything okay over there now? Can we take a look here? Looks like we might be hitting that. Yeah, slide over there. Yeah, it's close, Joe. What's that side? Yeah. Oil over here. Filter on this side here. Okay, can we pull it forward? Yeah, okay. Up some more. Got room on that side? Yeah. Okay, cool. Okay, let's go straight up then. Okay, slide her back. No water. No. That's good. Okay, yeah, we're totally clear now, so straight up. Feeling better? Blue.
My son is still not working, but
My sister. This is my mom, co-ops and
oh really? Like sick with the Seinfeld? Yeah. There's like stuff going around for sure.
Keep going. We gotta clear here so we can pour it right out. Alright, we go. Go. Let's spin it this way. Okay, there she is all out of the car now. Had to make one little modification to my engine stand here just because I wanted to keep the filter on the, they had them square at the back there. I just had to cut that guy, make a little clearance. But now she's on the stand. I can push her in the garage, start stripping her down. Okay guys, that's gonna do it for this video. I do want to thank you guys for watching. Also like to thank my buddy Joe for coming by, giving me a hand there. Yes, my name is Joe, his name is Joe, very confusing. Also like to thank my girlfriend Natalie. She made a brief cameo in the video there. We're gonna get her on film a little bit more in the spring and summer. She does drive my truck to the drags with the tires and the tools and does the filming at the track. So you'll see more of her in a bit. And remember, like, share, subscribe the video. And we are going back to the dyno, so you're going to want to stay tuned for that. Also like to say, as I say in most of my videos, I'm not a professional mechanic. I'm just an amateur drag racer, hot rodder, trying to make some videos for stuff that I was looking for when I started doing all this, and if I can help anybody out, that's great. So thanks a lot. Hit me up in the comments too if you guys want to see more of something or want an explanation or anything. I'll answer all comments. So thanks for watching. See you next time.